guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. For those of you who are new here, welcome. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. A great big shout out to my channel members for supporting my channel. Thank you. All right, so this is video number 10 in my coloring book collection series. This actually finishes out bookshelf number 3. Yay. So there's really no rhyme or reason. Well, there is for some of these, and then for the last two, there's also a reason for that as well, and hopefully I remember to tell you guys. But I'm going to clear up my desk and we can get started. Okay, so I do have a number of pages done in here. At the end of the video, I will show you my tracking for my coloring book inventory, and all of these were done in 2023. So because I just got this at the end of 2022, that makes sense to me. But I did get this because of Doodle Robot. And so I just showed this in my completed pages video. This is the page that the group did for June 2023. In this, we are coloring a page every even month as a group, and it's just been so much fun just to see everyone's different takes on the different pages. This is the first page we did. This was done in February 2023. Water-based markers really work well in here. They're not as streaky as like regular paper. This is a really weird paper. Acrylic marker or acrylic paint pens are kind of weird on this. Pencils are okay. Distress ink is okay. There is a little bit of bleed through. And where you see the bleed through on here, that's because I used a dual hybrid metallic on top of either pencil or water-based marker. Now, I enjoy this book, but not every image is something that I'm going to color. So if I have bleed through like that, I mean, one, it's easy enough to cover up, but also I don't know that I'd color this page. So if stuff like that happens, I don't get too fussed about it. This is the page that we're going to be doing for August. And then the final page is actually my favorite. But if you don't like spooky things, you may want to look away now. I'll let you know when it's clear. But this is the page we did for April. And this, honestly, to date, is my favorite page in here. There is just something about this dude that just makes me happy. It's spooky, but he's also very sweet. And I don't know. I don't know if it's the eyes. I don't know if it's the skin. I don't know what it is. But it is a little different because I made this the face rather than the face that was right in there. And to me, it just changes the complexity and just the overall feel of the picture. And there's something about these eyes that just really draw me in. So it's a little spooky, I'm not gonna lie, and yet I really think this is a cool dude. And so I love looking at this page, and it makes me happy that I completed it. But this is a completed pages from this book here, Magic Dreamland by Me Enchanted. Now, I did get this from Abe Books, so if you are looking for this, you may just want to do a general search on whatever, what's it called? Internet platform you're using. I generally use Chrome, or you may want to look at Abe Books, or you may also want to look on Amazon. But that's where I got it, Abe Books. This one I got from Amazon, and I've completed 2 pages in this one. Both of these were actually buddy colors with my friend colorist Jen from Instagram. So thank you, Jen. And it's funny because I had this on my radar. I believe Poet has this. I know a number of people do. But then Jen was like, hey, do you have that book? I'm like, hey, I've been thinking about getting that book, so let me go get it. So I did get this from Amazon. And so this was an Olga Rani Find in Color of Snow. And this is the Snow Queen. And I think it came out differently than I had seen it in my head, but I'm very happy with the results. I didn't want her to be like in blues, you know, for icy colors, but it's a lot lighter than I would generally do a color palette. And when you see the next page, you'll see what I mean. This here was also a buddy color with my friend Instagram Jen, or Colorist Jen. And this is definitely more of a feel of the kind of pages I would do, which is very vibrant and very bright. Now, a lot of the work was easy because I just kind of smushed on some distress ink and then just added some detailing on top of that, and then her skin. Now, this is a double-sided book, but there will definitely be pages that I am going to sacrifice because, one, there is nothing interesting in this page right here that I would color, but also, I mean, I have so many books that there is just no way that I'd be able to color every single thing. So if I have to sacrifice a page, this is definitely one of the books that I would do that in. Now, it is a very detailed book, so if you look at the various elements, but, you know, doing a wash of color and then highlighting a few items, because like in here, that's just glitter gel pen. To me, that just makes these pages manageable. Even with the one that I did here, there's swatches of color and kind of did alcohol marker and kind of brushed it down so that it is kind of streaky, but that's the effect that I wanted. And then I did the outline in the pieces here in a silver dual harbored metallic. And so again, lots of elements on the page, but if you just do a wash of color and then use some easy techniques to kind of highlight things, I still think she's super interesting, but it also didn't take a lot of time to complete this. I mean, honestly, the outlining is what took the most time on this page. And then you guys know if there's anything by way of stars, more often than not, I'm going to use a yellow highlighter. But that's my completed page out of this Color Me Enchanted, and the artwork is done by Masha Dians and Gala Lazuli. Now this one, I love the artwork, but it is not a book that I come into. As you can see, there's only one tab here. I did get this from Amazon. I want to say this was a used book. I think there's actually a page missing from here, but that's fine. But the page that I did complete is this one right here. This was for a Coloropoly from Sarah of Chronic Coloring Down Under. A prompt I had for that particular month, which was November 2021, was food. And so this is a bowl of ramen or udon or whatever. But then there's also other things in here. And then I added the stencil work behind it just to kind of ground the page. Now, the thing about this book, it's very Zentangly. It's very doodly. Yeah, see, there's a page missing. And I didn't do that. I don't rip pages out of my book. But I do like the artwork, and sometimes I just like coming in here and flipping through, but I do know that this is going to be a time consuming, or it can be, because again, I can do washes of color and then just do some highlighting if I want to. So I'm glad I have this book. I don't know how easy it is to find this book, but yeah, it's very detailed. So I love that. And the art style is not something that I've seen in a lot of books, but it is a time commitment. Although this is definitely going to be another one where I am going to sacrifice pages if I want and use alcohol markers, because I think alcohol markers would actually work really well in this book. But this is James Gulliver Hancock's Gulliver's New Travels. I did pick this up in 2021, and I have a few pages complete out of this. This is Dreamland by Renata Krawczyk, and the book is single-sided, so that's good. The paper is really good, and it's perforated. Now, I don't take pages out, so that actually can be a bit of a hindrance to me because the pages of this might fall out eventually. But I do like coming into this book. I just haven't come into it in a while. But this one was a really easy color, and I liked that. Looking at this, because I added the text here, you might think this might be more of a spring or a summer page, but just by changing the composition of the colors, this turned into a fall page for me. There's just some distress ink on the background, and then probably some water to kind of lift up some of the ink, and I love the look of that. And then for the people on here, because there's 4 small people, I just decided instead of working on the details of them, just to black them out and just make their shadows. And I think that's a very effective way to color little things like that. This was also a buddy color with Ashley's Coloring Journey. I think we actually did a few pages in here together as a buddy color. This, I think, was the very first page I completed in here, and this is all alcohol marker work. Alcohol marker is my preferred medium. It's not a favorite page of mine, but I just wanted to test it out and use some of my products on here. So it's, I think it's because it's more pastel-y than I generally go for, or maybe it's the composition, but yeah, it's not a great page, but it's done. This one I kind of like and I kind of don't. This was a random color generator and a finding color for house, and so I must have picked out some alcohol markers and then distress ink, so my palette was kind of randomly chosen, as that would give you an idea for. And then the text I put on here was, you can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have. And that's a quote by Maya Angelou. I do have one other page completed in here, but it's in the middle. But this, of the 4 that I've completed, is my favorite. It's another one of those where, based on the composition, the color choices made definitely kind of lend itself to the mood or the theme. Like, this was done, yeah, in October 2021, because I'm getting very much Halloween vibes. So the Day Glow green liquid and all of the dark colors and the orange and purple, because this kind of green, purple, and orange to me scream Halloween. So if I'm not coloring a Halloween page or a witchy page during October, or even before or after, this color palette always makes me think of that. And so I love the composition of this, but I also love the color choices of this, because that's not something you typically see. And I think I could have also gone with like Wedgwood China, or have done this in pinks and greens, but just using this color palette, I don't know, this just makes it super interesting to me. So that's my completed pages out of this one, Dreamland Coloring Whimsical Worlds by Renata Krawczyk. Now, the 4 books I've shown, to include this one, up until now are kind of my quirky books. That's kind of how I note them on the particular bookshelf, because again, that's finishing up bookshelf number 3. Now, on this one, I do have 3 pages. And I guess it doesn't matter the way that I show them to you. So this was done in January 2023. We are doing this as a group every odd month. So between Magical, Dreamland, and this, we always have a group buddy color every month, but skipping a month in between, if that makes sense. This was done with a lot of washi tape, black acrylic paint, and then some dual hybrid. And I believe both Carrie Kay and Doodle had done some black and white images, either in December or part of January, that I had seen, and so that's what inspired this. This was done March 2023. The color palette just kind of happened. This is actually washi tape in the background and then acrylic paint on top, because I could still see these patterns underneath it. And then a lot of distress ink and some distress spray. So again, I don't know that necessarily I would have chosen this palette, but once the background and the washi tape and everything was done, then I added some pops of teal and orange just to kind of bring it up. And the text on here says, "Don't forget to fly." And then the other page I completed is this one right here. And this is my least favorite because, one, I wasn't actually too keen on the composition anyway. And then it was one of those, okay, I colored the mushrooms black with an acrylic pen, and okay, that's fine. And then I did some other acrylic pen work from some Primrosia acrylic pens that I have from Amazon, and some of them are opaque and some of them are not, and so that was weird to me. I did some stamping on here, and at the end I just stuck some stickers. And I don't know, it's interesting, but I don't know that I actually like it. And honestly, I don't have to. It's one of those pages that kind of happen and they kind of unfold, And I like that I use mixed media. And so there are aspects of it I really like seeing this brown texty stuff on the background. I think it makes it interesting. The composition is not something I would have actually chosen if the group wasn't doing this. And yet seeing this and then seeing everyone else's completed page, I can see more of what this page could have been. And I actually find that aspect interesting. Now for July, so we're doing a page out of this for this month. It's actually whatever page we want to do, but there is a palette that we're going to be doing. So I'm interested to see how similar or dissimilar the pages that we do for this month are based on a palette versus based on an actual page. So this is Jen Ski's Mid-Century Modern Animals. Again, this might also be difficult to find, but I did get this one from Abe Books. Now, the last two that I'm going to show you, again, these books do finish out bookshelf number 3, is because it fit. I actually would prefer to keep all of my Japanese and Korean books all in one place, but that bookshelf is full, and this shelf had some space, and like, okay, well, if it fits, it sits. So this is, I have one complete page out of this, Demon Slayer. The art is by Goyoharu Gotoge, and this I got actually as a Christmas present in December 2022, and I finished him right here. This is mostly done in Sakura Koi paint pan, and then just a little bit of alcohol marker on top of it. This is another book where I'm not precious about it, so if some pages I sacrifice for alcohol marker work, I'm perfectly okay with that. And I am actually watching this on Funimation, and I've watched up and through season 3 or 4, but then I'm just waiting for the dubbed versions to catch up. And so yeah, it's actually a really interesting cartoon, anime, whatever. But that is Demon Slayer by Goyoharu Gotoge. And then the final book in this bookshelf is Atelier of Witch Hat coloring book. This is a manga. I don't know that this is an anime. And again, the only difference is manga is the comic book version. Anime is the cartoon version. Those what those things mean. Now, I like the cover. This is, I believe, the Spanish version. I got this from Amazon. And the reason I left this one for last is because the page that I did, I absolutely love. Now, I did not look up who this character was because, again, this is a manga, so these characters have particular looks and uniforms and whatever. So I just colored what I wanted. So I colored her in purples, and then the chair in golds and greens because I needed something to contrast. And then I added a little bit of pink because pink and green is my favorite color combo. I chose this page because Olga Rani's prompt was basket, but I thought alcohol markers worked a treat on this paper. It seemed to stay damp a little longer than some of like the Amazon or even the mythographic books, and so I could get some blends and I could do some layering, and I just thought it worked so beautifully. I was so happy, and I don't use expensive watercolor or expensive alcohol marker pens, so I imagine when you use even the higher end stuff like the Copics and the Tombos, and I have a few Tombos, on paper made for it, and again, I don't know that this is, but this to me, it worked better than any of the other alcohol marker pages that I've done. And considering some of the spaces were larger, I enjoyed the process so much. So it's only one page that I've completed out of here, but every time I look at it, it just makes me happy because I knew how much I enjoyed doing the page. And then I did look up who this character is. This is Agot, and they want to be a librarian for the Arcombe House at the Tower of Books in this witch hat world. But that is the final page that I have, and the final book that I have that finishes up bookshelf number 3. So let me get my coloring book journal and I'll be right back. Okay, so you guys know I'm doing my inventory in here, just slowly and methodically, the way I'm going. I'll probably finish up my entire collection by the end of the year, and then I'll start again. Whether I do that on camera or not remains to be seen, but at least I'll have a completed inventory of my stuff. And so it's this section right here that does finish out bookshelf number 3. But as I go along, you'll see that a lot of the books I have, even though I have pages completed in there, I didn't do them until this year. So Magic Dreamland, I got in December of 2022, and up and through the end of 2022, I had done nothing. Same with Mid-Century Modern, I got that at the same time, December 2022, and up and through the end of last year, nothing. Dreamland, I had completed 4. Gulliver's New Travels, I had completed 1. And then Color Me Enchanted, Demon Slayer, and Atelier of the Witch, I had not completed any pages up and through the end of 2022. Now, a lot of these I got in December 2022, so that makes sense to me in my head. The Atelier of the Witch, I had actually gotten in June 2022 from Amazon, but it just sat on my shelf, and it makes me a little sad because, again, I loved the experience with my alcohol markers in there, so I do want to get in there more. It's just when you have a collection like mine, and then when you're dealing with issues that you can't color, well, that just kind of takes away from the time that you can just sit down and do stuff. But this is video number 10 of my series. We are going to start on bookshelf number 4. And that's got a lot of books on there, and I've got 7 bookshelves. Now, that's not really accurate because it's just 7 spots. There's some spots here, there's some spots there, and I don't take pictures of it because it doesn't make sense to anyone, or wouldn't make any sense to anyone other than me, but I do have limited space. You wouldn't think that from the haul videos that I do, but I do have limited space. But I'd love to know if you had a favorite page out of my completed pages out of this video. Let me know in the comment section below. All right, well, that's it for me for now. And as always, aloha.